is a sports commentator. Huyu jamaa tunamjua as a football commentator. Yeah. But we are joined in studio by Bernard Otieno. Karibu sana SportyFM.
Asante sana.
For the first time tumekutafuta sana.
Wapi? I'm so available. Well, you've said other people were asking why are you talking about this guy, which means they can see me.
No, so there's a poster that was posted.
Oh, okay.
Promoting you're coming here.
Okay.
And the poster was written sports commentator.
Which is correct.
Yeah. But now they're saying
is
not a sports commentator. Be specific.
Why?
Just be specific. He's a football commentator.
Yeah, because they know me.
They know you from
yes.
football.
You can't stop him from knowing me. Like that. That's what we know.
Yes.
So now what we do is we take him from what he knows to what he doesn't know.
Yes.
That is not just football.
Absolutely.
Okay. In fact, one of my biggest, my first major commentary, international commentary, was not in football.
Yeah.
It was actually in athletics. The first international world event, not just international, but world event that I ever did was a World Athletics Championships, which was Athens. I don't remember which year. I'm sorry. 97. I think 97.
Yeah.
It was in athletics. So actually, my prowess was more in athletics than in football.
Yes.
And then later came into football. Now, what he needs to know, and he's right about football commentary because that's what he knows.
Yeah.
But some of us refer to ourselves as Olympics commentators. So any sport that you will see on the Olympics, most probably I'll be able to commentate it.
Yeah.
That's what happens. I just came from doing a World Taekwondo Championships. Now that just means that you have to understand the game itself, the rules of the game, and then be able to give it something extra apart from what people are seeing on the screen. I mean, the job of a commentator is to make you see things in more ways than just the two eyes can. You're basically the third eye of the viewer.
Yes.
So you can see the picture, you can see the action, but my job as a commentator is to tell you what more can you see, or what more about what you can see can I tell you. That's what makes you a good commentator.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just the best place to start, by the way,
exactly.
Bernard.
Yeah.
When did your passion for sports, where did it begin?
When you're living in Mta, where I grew up, sport is not an option. Sport is a way of life. There are two things that you do when you're living in Mta. You go to school, then you have your free time. In your free time, you do two things. You take up a sport and you take up an art. Most people who come from Mta will have done that. They'll have taken up a sport and they have taken up an art. By an art, I mean he probably will come up as a poet, probably will come up as a musician, probably will come up in traditional dancing, he will come up with something. And sport. So then when you don't really succeed in sport, you spill over into the art. Remember, this is away from your academic qualification. And that's why you see when you're being told, some of the good sportsmen, you're being told, like Dr. Dan Shikanda, for example, is a pharmacist, but he's also a footballer. He's also been the chairman of AFC Leopards. Okay, you see, and Dan Shikanda is a very entertaining guy. If you know him in real life, he's a very entertaining person. So he actually brings in all the other aspects of living in Mta, where you have your academic qualifications, you still have your passion, and you have your sport, and you have your art. So it's not strange. So I had my interest at that time. I played soccer for my Mta team. I see them occasionally rising up, going down. It's called Potela Kamaliza. Those who have who know soccer right from the grassroots will know that team. It's in Eastlands. And I was playing as a very small boy. But I remember they used to call me striker. I still didn't know what striker meant at that time. And I remember hearing the old men complaining, this small boy is going to score here and all that, things like that. But it didn't bother me because my brothers played football as well. My sister played netball. And then just the interaction with a lot of other sportsmen and sportswomen in the estates automatically triggers your interest in sport. So that is where it started, if you were to know where it started from.
But what makes a good commentator?
Oh, there's a lot that makes a good commentator. Anybody can be a commentator, incidentally. You can borrow a leaf from what you see in politics. Everybody's commenting on everything. So those are political commentators. So everybody can be a commentator. But what makes a good commentator is the difference. You have to know the sport. You have to know the rules of the game. You have to know the players. You have to understand the game. You have to be creative, because you're not just telling people about what they can see. You are telling them more.
You're giving more information
about what they. It's a car, yes, but what kind of car is it? Is it a blue car? Is it 4-wheeled? Is it 6-wheeled? Is it petrol? Is it diesel? Is it direct injection? Is it a van? Is it a bus? Is it all those things you have to say about the same car that people are seeing? So what extra can you say? What extra can you give to the viewers who are already seeing? What else can you give them about what they're seeing? How can you describe the move? What words can you use? Because commentators use a lot of adjectives, a lot of descriptive words. All right. The difference is that on television you have the pictures, so you only can say more about the pictures. On radio you can't see the pictures, so radio commentators can tell you anything. Okay, not in that way. What I mean is they have a harder job. Because they have to describe to you something that you cannot see and make you actually see it and feel it. But in doing so, sometimes they do what we call in academics, they use the magic bullet theory. They inject you with the information that you cannot verify, you cannot do anything about, you can only react to. And now that reaction can be either positive or negative. Right? But you see on television, you can't lie, you can't say anything, people can see. So you can't even create excitement that is not there. In fact, on the contrary, on television, even when there's much excitement, you can tone it down by telling people, for example, no, the defense has already organized itself, so they need to find a creative way of getting in there. See, so that's the difference. But you have to be very creative. But most of it, you have to understand the sport. You must. Sometimes in commentary, we say things that people wonder why we are siding with the referee, or we are not siding with the referee. But it's not siding, it's actually siding with the laws of the game. One of the rules that I see a lot of people, especially in Kenya, not interpreting correctly is the advantage play rule. You know, when a player has been fouled and the ball has left his feet and it is picked up by the opponents, that is a foul. The whistle will go at that point when it has been picked by the other player, and it is brought back to where the foul happened because the advantage has been lost.
Absolutely.
But you see, the fans will react and say, no, why are you still
advantage?
But so they don't understand that. And sometimes you are in between educating some of the fans and really just saying it as it is. Sometimes you become very unpopular, especially if a team is losing and they feel that that's a penalty. That another rule is that of the penalty. It's really misinterpreted, and I think a lot of people do not know what is called the dog-so rule. It's denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Dog-so. But the thing you must ask yourself whenever you see the whistle go for penalty, three things you must ask yourself. Did the player have possession of the ball? If he did, then maybe there's a reason for him to get a penalty. Was he facing goal when he had the ball? I mean, you can't be facing the other side. And then now we call for a penalty. It's not an obvious goal scoring opportunity. Okay. Then the third thing you must look at is, was he facing goal? I mean, is he facing goal? Because that is what makes it an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. So a lot of times things happen. People don't look at it. On TV, we have the advantage of the replay. You can look at that action again. Sometimes a foul has happened just at the edge of the box. And you know, players are very good actors. He will even,
land in the area.
Not even land. He will pull his leg behind. He has not been touched. He has not been touched. But he drags the leg behind to make it look like he has been tripped. Then he falls in the box. But you have to look at where the fall happened. Where did it happen? Yes. Even the offside rule. From where the ball was being taken, where it was, the moment the ball is being hit like this, is he offside or not? So those are some of the things that sometimes you have to do as a commentator as well, especially in our area in Kenya and in Africa. You really have to interpret it for the fans. Yes,
absolutely. Yes. Now I'm just curious, the first time you now took up commentary, your first gig.
Yes.
How was that experience?
Local, international, regional, which one?
The first one. Yeah, kwanza kabisa.
The very first one.
Yes.
It was local. I guess it's sometimes you have prepared your mind adequately. You when it's a passion, it's something you practice even before you go to the field. So it's been happening in your mind a lot of times and all that. The first commentary I did was probably at KBC when we were doing what was called the sports roundup. And the producer at that time just told me, look, we are going out for a sports roundup. We're going to see different sports on a weekend, and I want you to say something about them. So we went for basketball, and we went for volleyball, and we went for taekwondo, we went for shooting, we went for darts, like a whole roundup of things. And it was Saturday, Sunday. The program used to be on on Monday, I think.
Yeah.
It's called the sports diary. So we would go around the country, around Nairobi, just collecting different sports events and all that. And on the field, I would have to commentate them. On top of that, I would be presenting the program as well. So that is where it started. That is where it started. And then I realized I need to get more information. Although we're taking snippets, you need to get more information about what is going on. And then the very first full length probably was the basketball league. It was called the Postbank Classic National League that time. Then you have to do the full game, which was easy because it's basketball. There are only 5 players, all that. And keep changing, and 3 points in the basket, and then a 3-point shot, 2-point shot, and the layup. So that became very easy. Then the next one was the Eastern Central Africa Senior Challenge. That was the Senior Challenge Cup. That was teams, national teams. Yes. It was in Mombasa. And it was the first time now I had to do a 90-minute commentary for football. And that was quite a challenge. Number one, I paid my own way to Mombasa, which was not an issue. Sometimes when you love something, it's not about the money at the end of it all. And then I have family in Mombasa, so I went to live at my sister's place, so I didn't need accommodation. So I just go to the stadium. The biggest challenge at that time was to get information. Because I needed information. And I remember I met the team manager of the Zambian team that time. The only place I could find him was in the bar. I couldn't find him anywhere else. And I needed information about these players.
The players,
yes. The players who were in the team. So I found him in the bar. He was smoking and he was having a beer, so I started writing notes asking him about how old these players are, which teams they play for and all that. In the process, a beer was brought to me as well. And it was opened, and so I kept the character and continued writing, and then it was poured for me in the glass. I continued writing. I tried to ignore it so that
concentrate.
Not to concentrate, just to show them that I don't take alcohol, I really tried to, and then it kept on he kept on swigging, and then he told me, have a drink. I was like, yeah. Then I was like and then I continued writing and all that, so now where I first took a beer in my life. It was that time. So that's when I did now the first lengthy 90-minute commentary, and when I just did the first one like this, that was it. Everybody was so excited about it. I did it in English.
Sometimes research can take you as far as the bar.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So wherever you get the
so
information.
that you get the information that you want.
In academics, it's called ethnological studies.
Yes.
You have to go and live with Chep to know how they live there.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you see these guys who come from Europe, living among the Maasai, going to hunt and all that, it's not for fun. They pretend that it's for fun, but it's doing research. It's called ethnological studies, where you have to be there with those people themselves.
And get to learn.
Yes, and get to learn and see and do what they're doing for you to learn. For example, I'm still studying this as well. By the way, I'm a PhD candidate, so that you wonder why I'm talking about academics. There's this thing about FC Leopards and Gor Mahia. It's in sports. My PhD is in sports.
Nice.
Why? They're friends, we know each other. By the way, we tease each other on a daily basis. In fact, they live one, the other is living door two. But why do they fight after the game? And even go home and still tell each other, they still discuss it. Why? So for you to understand this, you have to do ethnological studies. You go and live with Jaro Soja in his house
so that you understand him.
Put yourself in his
exactly.
place.
On TV sometimes you call it My Day with Jaro Soja. It's ethnological studies. Be with him, prepare with him that morning and go with him to where they discuss these issues, find out what is going to happen, when do they plan, how do they travel, all these things. Go with the other opponents as well and find out everything you can about them. That's how you get to know what happens. Yes.
I'm interested to know, by the way, Bernard, you commentate football, then another gig comes up, taekwondo. How do you switch?
What do you mean switch?
Because the language of football is different from the language of...
It's sports.
It's
a sport. There's a competition there. There's two people, they're competing. They want to score points. You just have to know how the points are scored. Have to know where or when.
The rules of the game.
Know the rules of the game. They're not difficult, by the way. They're like 4 major rules of taekwondo, and these are martial arts. And martial arts don't distinguish themselves so much in terms of the rules. In taekwondo, for example, you score in only four instances. You can score from a punch to the torso. You can score from a kick to the head. You can score from a kick to the torso. You can score with a 360 turn kick to the head, which scores more points. That's just it. And then every time you're hitting, of course, there's points, but you have to know where to hit, because again, with Taekwondo, they have the gear that they wear. It's a body gear. And it scores on the electronic scoring system every time you hit the body gear. So you have to know where to hit in that body gear. You might hit, but you don't score. That's why sometimes when I'm doing boxing, for example, I also do boxing.
Recently with Kalakoda.
Okay, yes, I was there. Even in boxing, you have to think, why is this boxer? Some people say, no, he has been robbed. No, you have to look at whether he's scoring points. Overworking and punching a lot does not mean you're scoring the points, because points are scored when you hit the face, the head. Okay, so if you're hitting the body, you're not scoring any points. When you hit the body, all you're doing is you're trying to weaken the opponent. Most likely you're trying to get them to lower their guard so that you can hit them on the head. So you have to understand those things. Some people don't, and that is where the problem comes in. So you must understand all these things. So it's an automatic switch into a sport. I don't know what you mean by the language of sport is different. It's just the language of that particular sport. You have to know the technical terms of that sport. You have to know about the uppercut, the swing, the hitting below the belt. And some of these phrases you use on a daily basis actually come from sport. Hitting below the belt is not allowed. Sometimes when you have the white flag, or they threw in the towel, I'm sure you've used that. You've used that phrase, but I'm sure you used it after you had eaten too much meat and you say, no, I'm throwing in the towel. I'm throwing in the towel. When you throw in the towel in boxing, and this happens physically, it means you have given up. So your people, when they realize you're taking too much punishment and the ref is not stopping the fight, they can throw in your towel. You throw it into the ring, and that just denotes that you have given up, you have conceded defeat, and the fight stops then. In Europe, they have modified it. They don't throw the towel in, they just wave it. As long as the ref has seen it, they wave the towel, which is the same as waving the white flag. Okay, so you only switch to the technical details of the sport, and then you move on. That's all.
Absolutely.
It's not difficult. I mean, if you understand the sport.
Because in Kenya we don't have as many versatile sports commentators like you are.
Maybe
you just get one specifically for football, one specifically for boxing.
Let's change that. Say in the world, we don't have versatile commentators. In fact, when you're out there, even in the Olympics, or you're out there in the World Championships, they get shocked when they ask you, what is your specialty? You say, my specialty is football and athletics. What do you mean football and athletics?
They want one.
Both, they want, because they come
They're
in.
used to.
They come in as one, who has followed this athletics for the rest of his life. That's the only thing he knows. Then you come in, and here you are. Where are you going? There's volleyball, and Kenya is playing, so I'm going to commentate volleyball. Okay, where are you going? Karate is over there. There's a Kenya. Taekwondo, where are you going? There's rugby, Where are you going? There's football and there's athletics, and you can do all of them at the world level. So they get very shocked, but it's a passion, and it's a talent that we thank God for.
How is it important to be versatile as a broadcaster?
It's important. It's good. People say, you should not be a jack of all trades. But what if you're a master of all of them? You know me, I come from that school of thought. They say a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Why not be a master of many? Or a master of? You can't be a master of all, but why not a master of many? So like here, I have specifically majored on athletics and soccer. Most people know me more for soccer because soccer has a bigger following in the world than athletics. But I tell you, I do athletics as well at the world level. The one thing I don't do, and this is the only limitation, and it's because it's for fun, is rugby. And because I enjoy rugby so much that I don't want. Most likely, I will make statements that will probably not be rugby statements from how I'm enjoying it. So I limit myself, and I don't want to commentate rugby. But it's like the sevens. It's probably the easiest thing to commentate, and it requires a lot of creativity, and it's a lot of fun. But I will have more fun than I'll be delivering to the viewer. So when I can, I keep off rugby and just sit on the stands and enjoy and unwind. That's it. But it's good to be versatile. It's good to understand lots of sports. Let's put it this way: it's good to be literate, sports literate.
Absolutely.
For example, I can tell you, in this country, there are very few cricket literate sports reporters and commentators. How many of you understand cricket? Another sport that people don't understand very well is golf. We just had a a big golf
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah.
But to get someone to interpret, can you stand at the board and interpret the board and make a story from the board? That means you understand golf. If you have to look at it and see how many holes they have played, how many shots he has dropped, how many he has picked up, if he continues with this and goes shot per shot or picks up a shot every hole, where is going to end? What will be his score at the end of it all? When you're talking about a -6 or talking about a -5, where will it end? So once you are that versatile and you understand these things, it becomes easy to actually just watch the game and interpret it and control it.
Isn't just in terms of, as you said, the versatility, which is there a favorite sport that you enjoy to commentate?
Soccer. Soccer.
Why?
It's the most popular sport in the world, so it gives you the biggest exposure. You are actually talking to the largest audience that you can find. You know, when you talk about the statistics sometimes of World Cup numbers, how many people are watching? If you look at a couple of World Cups ago, let me not give you a date, but like when the US played Iran in the World Cup, you know, some of the most difficult games to commentate is because you don't know whether you're going to make a political statement here, whether it's going to change the world, whether it's going to ban the world. But a game like that one, or even let's say Ghana and USA, some of those matches are watched by the biggest population of the world. It was even said at some point that if those numbers that were watching that World Cup, if all of them had jumped up at the same time and landed on Earth, the Earth would have moved a bit, you know, because of the population of the world that was watching those games. So that's where you go into football, because it's got big numbers. But athletics is exciting. In that 9 seconds that the 100 meters is being run, you have choice words that you have put together. You've put your mind to a lot of things. You're watching so many things. You're watching every twitch of the muscle, every placing of the fingers, every shaking of the leg. You're watching the spikes.
Yes.
You're watching the blocks, how they've been placed. You're watching whether he's taking off with the right foot or the left foot. You're talking about the reaction of the blocks. You're talking about the first 20 meters of it all. Are they hunched? Are they picking up speed? You're looking at all the 8 lanes. You're looking at whose finger is ahead of the other. All this in 9 seconds. 10 seconds.
That 100 meters.
And in 10 seconds, it's over. And there's a world record. And you have to be the one interpreting it even at that time. At 50 meters, you can see whether they're within world record time and all.
Or not,
So the excitement is palpating at that time.
I want to take you back now, 2008.
Yes.
In the Olympics.
Yes.
You did commentate, I think it was the 100 meters.
Yes.
Where Usain Bolt was.
2007.
Yes.
That was World Athletics Championships.
Yes. How was that experience?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's exhilarating. That was Berlin 2007, I think. It was Berlin. You are watching so many things. You know, you are watching him from the warm-up area, his mannerisms. You're doing a psychoanalysis. You're wondering, what is he thinking in his mind? By the time he's taking that swig of water, is he comfortable? What about his opponent? What are they thinking of? You know, in that same race, he'll be having his training partner, who's probably from the US as well, who's competing against him, who's looking up to him and just keeping up to him to be able to make it to the medals bracket. I think in that race, literally everybody in that qualifier, or even in the final, let's talk about the final. Literally everybody in that final had a national record, or a personal best, or an area record, or a continental record. Everybody who finished that race, that tells you it was one of the greatest races ever run in the world. It was exhilarating. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
It was amazing. I personally can't remember what I said in that commentary, but I remember one person, I don't know where he was, from the US or something, wrote me a note and told me and said, he said something about, this is the best commentary you've ever done for athletics. Somebody wrote me a note or something like that, or an email or something like that. It was 100 meters, that's all. I don't know what I said. I don't know how I said it. People pick up snippets as well. I remember even here at Kasarani, one time when Omanyala was there and there was an American runner, and I just said, if you're from Kenya, you're watching lane number 4. If you're from the US, you're watching lane number 8. Then the race started. And that's all people picked up, you know.
So we have to focus on lane 4.
Because that's where the race is. That's where the race was. We are looking at Kenya. And this is the fastest man in Africa, so we're looking at him. And then the other one was from America. And that's where the competition was going to come in.
Yeah.
So that's all I said. And I think people just picked up that. Even recently at the Kipkeno Classic, again, it was Omanyala again. And I was doing the introductions. I was doing the stadium announcements.
Yeah.
And after introducing everybody else, you know, and it's the 100 meters is always the last event for the excitement. So after introducing everybody else, of course, I know that the whole of the stadium is waiting for Manyala, the whole of the stadium. So you just create a little tension, you know, in broadcasting, silence creates a little tension, like what's going on. Silence. That's what you do in radio and all that. When you keep silent, you create some tension, some mysterious thing is going to happen. So that's silence. And then I just said, and now, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't say anything else. The whole stadium just erupted. And again, that's what they picked up.
Yeah.
And then after that, you wait for them to come down. The African champion, Kenyan national record holder, Kenyan national champion, the one and only Ferdinand, and then you leave it at that.
But then, do you store your notes even for the future? For future, just in case now you want to put them.
I have so much of those notes that I periodically get rid of them. I do, but I periodically get rid of them. I store them sometimes. Like if I'm doing, if I know I'm doing a consistent championship, you'll always find my notes together.
Yes.
In one place. If you come to my room when I'm doing my championships, you'll find the whole table littered with day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, because I need to I like to follow up. But then after some time, and having done all these championships, I'm looking for some of the notes. Sometimes I keep my commentary notes in a notebook. I think I've left it. So I keep my commentary notes in a notebook to follow up. Absolutely. And that's why I'm able to tell you this player got a red card at this time in this game. And I don't go back to the net to look for it because I recorded it myself, and I trust my recording more than even the net. Please remember, the net is written by humans. They also put that information there. So I trust my own information. So I keep the notes, but occasionally it becomes too bulky. Bulky.
Absolutely. But just remembered, there's let me just take you back to football, because have you ever been accused of bias?
So many times.
And because there's
in local football.
Could it be local? Could be
local. In local football.
How do you deal with that?
Are you biased? That's the way I deal with it. Am I biased? I am not. So I know it's emotions, because sports is a very emotional thing. Football is very emotional. Especially, and people come and tell you, I've been told so many times by fans of AFC Leopards, because my name is Otieno and I'm a Luo and all that, I'm always biased, but they come to appreciate it later. I have very many good friends in AFC Leopards, in Gor Mahia. They think that I'm a Gor Mahia fan. I have been accused by Gor Mahia fans themselves of being biased against Gor Mahia. So it's not strange, it happens. You have to know how to manage the emotions of the fans, and that is why you will rarely find me outside of the commentary booth discussing football. You won't find me in a social place discussing Gor Mahia or FC Leopards, because it's too emotional. So I like them to know that when I'm in there, I am at work. When I finish, that's it. You can interpret the information. Unfortunately for television commentary, you can't say Gor Mahia won when they lost. You can't say AFC Leopards won when they lost. It's not possible. You can't set an agenda on television. You can't, because you can say Gor Mahia narrowly lost. That's setting an agenda. Or AFC Leopards narrowly lost or narrowly won. You're setting an agenda. On television, you can see it. So I rarely like to discuss football outside of the stadium and outside of the commentary booth. It becomes a little bit too emotional.
Yes, and in terms of just the Harambee Stars, is there a specific game that just stood out for you, maybe because of just the emotions of that game, or how you you did your commentary on that game? Is there any specific Harambee Stars game that just stands out for you?
The last game that was massively big and had massive emotions is when Kenya played Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers Kasarani. Some years back. I can't remember which year it was, but some years back. And that was laden with emotions, and plus the fact that Kenya won that game, So it was laden with emotions, and that time the Nigerian players had broken into the world in many places. They were playing in many clubs in Europe, and we were calling them child millionaires, because they had money and they were coming to play here. They were flying in differently, For us, we were used to the Harambee Stars is going to Uganda. They're going on the team bus. These guys were flying into the country, and they're not flying in as a team. everybody's coming on their own.
Yeah.
So they had money. So that still remains to me as one of the most iconic games that was played at Kasarani, and that I was present for that. The emotions were massively big. There was big support for the Kenyan team. Talent had just been massively discovered at that time.
Yeah.
Because Bernard Fabish was the coach, the late, may his soul rest in peace. Bernard Fabish was the coach, and he had selected players from teams that were relatively unknown.
Yeah.
And young players who were relatively unknown.
Yeah.
There was a player I remember from a team that was called Two Fishes. I think it's from the coast.
Yeah.
I remember it's Kwale or Malindi, but it's from the coast. Two Fishes. There were players from there.
Yeah.
You got players from Oserian. You got players from different places. Young players who were delivering. And that was the change now. It was the transition from the older generation of players that we knew, Austin Oduors, the Mulambas, JJ Masigas, and all that. George Solo, Tiedo, and all that. And now we're coming in with the smaller Sami Simiyu, not Sami. I think it was Ken Simiyu, and all the other younger players. John Mo, Moirore, and all that were coming into the picture. John Odhiambo Barezi and all that. That still remains an iconic moment in that transition in Kenyan football.
Many people, I think, including me, because I see on our YouTube channel, Davison Odhiambo. Nice to hear from Bernard. I started following him back in 2012 when I got interested in KPL. So I think most people also started, listening to you during that time. And I just want to get your thoughts in regards to the co-commentator that you work with, because there's a time you used to work with Jacob Ghost Mulemi for the KPL.
Yes.
How do you create the synergies of you as the main commentator and of course the color commentator?
That's a very good question, because the co-commentator can actually drag the game down or make it exciting. The advantage is that Ghost Mule is a very good conversationalist. Even out of the mic and all that, is a very good conversationalist. Even before he became a radio presenter. Out of the studio, out of sports, he's a very good conversationalist. I mean, he's the kind of person who will get the party going all the time. So it's very easy to talk to him. He's a very easy person to talk to. So I found that synergy very easy because we engaged quite so easily, and I dealt with him before when he was the coach of Harambee Stars.
Yes.
And I remember I'm the only one who used to call him and ask him, what time can I come for an interview? And you tell me, the players are sleeping at this time, so you come at 4:00, not before then. And I would keep to that. So I think out of that mutual respect of what he's doing, we became friends and also we became accomplices. And then when we got into the commentary booth now, he's a technical person. A good commentator, a co-commentator should be doing what you're not doing. If you're doing all the minute by minute, move by move commentary, he is looking at the technical details of it. And he will tell you why what you're saying happened. For example, you could talk about that's a long ball down onto the left side. I think there's too much energy on that, and it's an easy loss of possession for that team. A good technical commentator should tell you, but that was very selfish of him. He should have just given the ball behind. There were two other players waiting for it. So he's helping you to see a lot more than even what you're seeing. So you're helping the viewer to see, and he's helping you to see a little bit more. Or he tells you, in the rain, the ball moves faster, the players move slower and all that, so he's not going to catch up with that, which you could have known, but which you could have forgotten because you're handling something else. So that is why it becomes a very good synergy. Then again, you don't want a co-commentator who keeps on interrupting you. There's no competition here.
Yes.
There is usually an unwritten rule, 70-30. The main commentator does 70, the co-commentator does 30. I usually modify that rule to 60-40. I do 60, you do 40. Then I also modify it further and make it a conversation. I like it more when it's a conversation, because literally commentary is a conversation with the viewer or the listener. So I like to make it a conversation here. I put the viewer, I put the listener in my mind and wonder what are they going through, because I'm leading them through what is going on, so I can have a conversation with them and I can tell them something like, I think that's an easy loss, what do you think? Because I am now taking you to represent that viewer who's watching that game, and I hear your views as well, and then we can have that conversation there. So that is what makes a good commentator, and a good co-commentator. I've worked with very many co-commentators, including international ones, including international coaches. It's how they interpret what you're saying vis-a-vis what we're seeing on television that makes it successful. Even the coach of Gor Mahia, Charles Akono, I was with him at Qatar for the World Cup, and he was my co-commentator at one game because he was following Ghana at that time. So we were with him as well. And we've done it with many others. Arsene Wenger, Kina Pele, all of them have become co-commentators before. 1996 Africa Cup of Nations as well. 2010 World Cup. I remember Arsene Wenger was sitting right behind me here. At the media center. I mean, at the media tribune when we are doing commentary. Absolutely. And even him as a coach at that time can only interpret what the commentator is saying. That's what happens here.
Yes, and of course, Bernard, now sports has evolved over the years. There's a lot of data.
Correct.
We are consuming a lot of data, and you, of course, now as a commentator, you're trying to tell the listener about the data, making it as easy as possible for them to understand. How has it been for you? Is it a challenge, or how easy has it been for you in terms of technology and data?
That's a very good question, because now this is where the two things meet, because commentary is an art and a science.
Yes.
The art comes in how creatively you can use that information. The science comes in you mining that data and mining the data that you need to use, because you can't use everything. Again, you can't use everything at the same time. So you need to find out what you're going to use at what time. So a little bit of training in journalism and broadcasting also helps you here, because the best time to use information about a coach, for example, is when we see the coach on television. It has more value. It doesn't mean that it has no value if you say it elsewhere. Maybe the game was going on and you talked about the coach of this team has just recently wedded and all that. It's good. But if we saw the coach and most likely even saw the ring on his finger, then you can just say there's evidence that he got married the other day, judging by what is on his index finger there. So you're using the information, but the creative way to bring out this information makes you now a better commentator. Otherwise, anybody else can use that information. And you're right. Nowadays, you have stats that you can get online. You have stats that can be provided for you all through. How do you use these statistics? If you remember recently, even in one of the championships that we had here, even in Morocco, there was a commentator who was using a lot of information. There's a risk of too much information. A lot of information. Anytime something happens, it's telling you, that's the 5th time, that's the 100th throw in the 3 games and all that. Now those are not statistics that you want to give to the listener or the viewer at that time. But why was he doing that? Because it's being provided for him. And there's a lot of it. You can't use all of it. You have to choose what you're using, the most apt, that makes you now your creativity become better. So it's evolving. We have what we call commentator information system. You'll get on the information there. What time are you going to use it? How are you going to use it? On who are you going to use it? Makes you now the success or the failure in commentary.
Absolutely. Bernard, in this field, sports commentary, we don't have many women. Why do you think this could be the case?
I wish they could come up. I wish they could come up. I wish they could come up. I don't know why. And yet I know that now in even women's soccer, we are being pushed on the side most of the time. We are trying to have women doing it on their own. And I don't know why many have not come up yet. There is a big room for women commentators. I don't know if they don't like the idea of getting excited over what is going on in the field, or maybe they don't want to express themselves. But yet again, I have seen at the Safari Rally there's women commentators. I've seen as well at the English Premier League now there's women commentators. I've seen again in many other international events there are women commentators. I think they just haven't ventured into that field, and maybe they should. Maybe they should.
There's a comment here on YouTube from Laban Nyanyuki. Bernard is my lecturer. Proper sports brain right there, since I had him back in Super Sport to commentate the Premier League.
I teach as well.
Yes.
I think that's what he's saying.
In fact, there's a friend of mine, it's called Calvin's Moriasi Osiemo, also told me that he taught him
at Multimedia.
Yes. He taught him sports journalism.
Calvin Osiemo.
Yes.
He likes to call himself Calvin's Osiemo J.
Yes.
That's him. I know him. Absolutely. I know him. When you meet him next, is your friend?
Yes.
Ask him what happened to Toto J. Just ask him that.
Yes.
What happened to Toto J? He'll either kill you or he'll come looking for me. But those were my students.
Yes.
Those were my students. And some of my students are actually in the industry right now.
Yeah.
We meet even in the field. Jason Sagini, I think. I don't know if you know him.
We know
our friend.
our friend.
Is he your friend?
Yes,
Our friend.
ours.
Jason was my student. I taught him sports
I think he's
broadcasting.
watching us.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
There is another one called Otengo Dan. He's also in sports journalism at the moment. There is Martin Moses. He's also in the industry, and many others, including in behind the scenes on camera and technicals and all that. Because I taught a course called sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
In which you have to make people understand there's a lot more that goes on in sports than just what you see on television. There's a legal aspect of sport, there's a marketing aspect of sport, there's the transport and logistics part of the sport, there is the audience part of the sport, there is the academic part of the sport.
Yes.
Like this audience, how do you interpret it? Your radio audience, for example. What are the characteristics of that radio audience? What are the characteristics of the TV audience? You know, you have to tell them all that. How do you craft the messages on radio and television?
Yeah.
How? When we came in, I told you that for me, a link in an urban commercial radio station should be a maximum of 19 seconds. That's how I know it in my training and in my teaching as well. Because in 19 seconds, you can say your name, say give a station ID, give a time check, tease forward, and you can also back announce a song that was playing in 19 seconds. But you see, this is a sports station, so it's a little bit different. So all these I have taught them in that class. It's usually a 4th year class at Multimedia University. Yes. So yes, I know that
you have a lot of your students are keeping tabs.
They are
watching. They're enjoying the conversation.
We meet even at functions, and sometimes I'm probably I'm deliberating an event or something like that. I'm the one who's moderating it, and they're there as well. And I encourage them to ask questions, because we did something called broadcast interview techniques. How do you interview people in broadcasting different from how you interview people in any other, in the print, for example? So yes, I know those. I know the people you're talking about. I know them.
Yes, and maybe just Bernard, in your career, since you began and still, of course, continuing with your career, is there a lowest point? Something that you faced in just during your work that is just commentary, and then maybe you just faced the lowest point
on the job.
The job. Maybe you were treated differently.
No. The one of the lowest points I've ever had at the stadium is when there's fights at the stadium, and then you see people. And I once saw a family. The man had come with his wife and his son and daughter and all that, and a fight erupted, and it was really sad, because I can see what's going on. There's tear gas and all that. People are running, and I had to stop the commentary. I just told Ghost to continue, like that brief interlude of his own analysis, and I went down to where they were, and I got them out of there and told them, come and sit in the commentary box and wait for this to pass. That's usually the lowest point. Now the other lowest point when you're on commentary is if you're not in good books with the director, because the director gives you instructions, and sometimes there are things that you want as a commentator. There's a button on the box called the lazy button that allows you to speak to the director, and you tell him, director, can we see that replay again? Can we see that penalty? Because you've noticed something that probably the director has not noticed and nobody else has noticed, and you just want to reconfirm it, and then you don't get it. There are two sides of that story. You don't say in your comment, you don't say we'll see the replay of that and we will confirm, because the director might not have the replay, so you've set him up if you say that. But you can say, well, I thought there could have been a touch on that player there, and you quickly press the lazy button and say, director, can we see that again? Then you don't see it. Now that to me, and when you're not in good books with the director, there's one time during the Africa Athletics Championships, that the director was using very foul language, language that we are not used to. It had a lot of F words and all that. It was really affecting me and my other commentator. And we were 6 commentators. There were 2 English, 2 French, and 2 Portuguese. It was international, and I couldn't take the language. It was really not nice. I'm pretty sure where he was coming from, because he was from outside the country. Where he was coming from, he was very okay with it. But I wasn't. And so, and I noticed I wasn't the only one, because we are all in one line as commentators. We can see each other, and we're all asking, what kind of language is that? And so we switched him off. That was the lowest point. We switched off the director. Now, when you switch off the director, it means you're not taking instructions from the director. So the director can tell you, now we are going onto the field, give an intro to the field, and you can't hear him. So you continue with what you're seeing on the track.
Yeah.
And you finish what you're seeing in the track, you cut back to the field, and you say, well, let's go back to the field, and this is the shot put. Yeah, direct, we have it for you on the screen. And you're not looking at that screen, you're looking at your notes, and you're saying these are the people who are going to be taking part. Look at the times, and you're not looking at the times, and you continue with reading the whoever is going to be there from Kenya, whoever is going to be there from India, whoever is going to be there from Pakistan, whoever. And it's only the times. Look at the times, and you're not looking at them. That was the lowest moment. Because he had to come out of his room, out of his director's box, and come and say, gentlemen, switch off your mics. And we switched off the mics. Please remove your headphones. They said, look, I'm sorry if I'm using that language. I'm sorry. Can we just work together? We told him, yes, tone down on that language. And you see, we had already told him in the lazy button, tone down on that language. So we just told him, tone down. I'm not personally very happy with that kind of language. It affects me. So please, can you just use TV language? He says, yes, I'm sorry. He actually apologized. He said, I'm sorry. Can we just work? And we went on to work. And at the end of the championship, he came and said, look, you're brilliant. I'm so sorry I was using that language. But some of the cameramen, we use this language with them and all that. I said, it's okay, but I'd already asked you to tone it down. So we became friends. Up to now, we are friends. We meet in very many international events.
Fantastic.
He's a very good director, by the way. He's an old guy now, but he really knows his stuff. Yes, I don't want to mention his name because he has not given me permission to.
Fantastic.
But he's a very good director.
For the many intros that you guys do as commentators,
yes,
I know you can't preempt what's going to happen in a sport.
Yes,
but do you sometimes prepare some of the intros?
Yes, you must. The intro is a very important part of the commentary because it opens up and it sets the tone, it sets the agenda for what you're going to say. Maybe you don't know this, but I did the Ethiopian Premier League for about 3 years. I worked in Ethiopia for about 3 years, and we're doing the Ethiopian Premier League, and every intro of mine was different. But it was meant to also showcase the country. Like I would start with from the country with the hottest place on earth, which is true, which you might not know. Ethiopia is actually the hottest place on earth is found in Ethiopia. And then now welcome people. Okay, I would say from the city of lights, which is what Diredawa and other cities is all about. I would mention about from the city of the new flower, Addis Ababa, which is what it means. Addis Ababa means the new flower in America. So from I would start with all those nice intros that would probably sell a little bit of the city, let them know what is going on. I would tell people, from the land that discovered coffee, because coffee was discovered in Ethiopia. So it's very important. Sometimes even from Nyaassh National Stadium, the lights at the Nyaassh National Stadium are on. That just tells you it's going to be an evening match. And then you cut down to what is going on the field and all that. So you have to have a catchy intro that also brings in your audience. Not even just on television, even on radio. Your intro must be catchy. How else are you going to... Because we are in the business of attracting and also maintaining the audiences. You already have an audience. That one you must maintain. And then you must also attract more people into it. That's what we are in. So an intro is a very important thing. You look at the game. When Gor Mahia was playing and FC Leopards was playing, when FC Leopards was playing Shabana, the turning point of the Premier League, because Shabana was just close. In fact, at one point they were the same. They had the same number of points.
Yes.
And that's a game that was going to separate them now and see whether FC Leopards now charges towards the title or not. And then they beat Shabana. So you start with that intro to set the tone, to let people know why this game is important. Yes. And then you move on now to the move by move.
Wacha tupate sporty updates, then sasa Bernard atupatie his words of inspiration, really, because there are also young people who are in school listening to us, might want to hear from him the advice that you have for them as they prepare to be broadcasters for the future. Time now is 12 noon. This is the Sporty Update.
Look out! Home run!
Top story hits, no misses. The Sporty Update on SportyFM.
Harambee Stars head coach Benny McCarthy, who is currently in Europe leading Kenya's player recruitment drive, has intensified efforts to approach foreign-based players of Kenyan heritage ahead of the Africa Cup of Nations 2027, which Kenya will co-host with Uganda and Tanzania. The delegation led by McCarthy and McDonald Mariga is already holding talks with players including US-born Andre Kenete Gitau of 1 FSV Mines 05, defender Zach Viner of Wrexham, and midfielder Tyler Onyango, currently on loan at Stockport County from Everton.
Yes, and KCB Rugby head coach hopes for a second half comeback has been cut short as the Kenya Rugby Union Leagues and Fixtures Committee confirmed that the 10-10 scoreline at halftime will stand following the rain-abandoned Kenya Cup clash against Kabras Sugar at KCB Sports Club in Ruaraka. The committee has also issued rulings for the other affected fixtures, awarding Mombasa RFC a 28-0 win over Mean Machine RFC and rescheduling the KU Black Blood versus Impala RFC match to Wednesday, 11th March.
Iraq national football team head coach Graham Arnold has urged FIFA to postpone Iraq's international playoff for the FIFA World Cup after airspace closures linked to the Iran conflict left players and staff stranded. Iraq are scheduled to face the winner between Suriname national football team and Bolivia national football team in Monterrey on March 31st, but the squad is currently unable to travel from Baghdad.
Yes, and Kenya Aquatics has unveiled plans to establish talent identification and high-performance training centers nationwide, aiming to transform young swimmers into elite competitors under a structured development pathway. Federation Technical Director Omari has said the centers, in partnership with selected schools and clubs, will identify promising talents early, provide professional coaching, and ensure athletes receive the support needed to compete at national and international level.
That's the Sporty Updates, 3 minutes after 12.
Look out! Home run!
Top story hits, no misses. The Sporty Update on SportyFM.
And this is SportyFM. And as we wind up our conversation here with the legendary sports commentator Bernard Otieno, just want to ask you this in regards to getting the names right. Because I think I think this is something that most commentators, most in Kenya, struggle with.
Why do you struggle with names, surely?
For most of the not names within the Kenyan sports, because that one is very easy to know. This is Kwanya, this is Joshua.
Yeah.
But most of the names.
Okay, why is it why do people struggle with names?
Yeah, you listen to someone commentating football, the names they don't again get the
pronunciation.
Right. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because that's my problem. Why? There are two ways in which you can know the pronunciation of a name. You can go online, and look for the pronunciation. If you're not very sure, you can call the embassy to find out how do you pronounce these names. If the name is from Serbia, or Kyrgyzstan, even just the fact that you can pronounce Kyrgyzstan means you already know the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Most names will take a syllabic pronunciation. It doesn't matter in what country it is coming from.
Yeah.
If your name is Chepto, it will take a syllabic pronunciation of Chep and To. Those are two syllables. Now the only variation can be maybe somebody will say Chep2 because there's the T-double-O can also be pronounced as two.
Yeah.
But then you have to find out in Kenya, do they pronounce it as U or not?
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
So what's difficult? If you have South Korean names, you'll pronounce them.
Yeah.
If you have Serbian or Hungarian names, you have to pronounce them. If you can say Lomachenko, what's the big deal? What is the big deal? What they do in Europe is they anglicize our names. Okay?
Yeah.
They pronounce them in English. For example, you can say Paris. It's correct.
Yeah.
It is the English pronunciation of the city that is the capital of France.
Yeah.
But you can say Paris if you can speak French.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
You can say Barcelona if you speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But you can say Barcelona if you speak English.
Yeah.
So they anglicize it. And that is it. So if you're commentating in English, anglicize the names. You get away with it.
Yeah.
Okay? Anglicize the names.
Yeah.
If you're I don't even know if there's any other way to do it. Just pronounce the name the way it's supposed to be pronounced.
Yeah.
There is a town called Florence in Italy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what is its correct name in Italian? It's Firenze. If you speak Italian, you call it Firenze, but explain that it's the same one called Florence. Because it's the same thing. Milano and Milan is the same thing. Why do we so much want to show people that we understand the names of football teams? We talk about Real Madrid. Why don't you say Real Madrid then? If you're going to pronounce it in Spanish, pronounce it in Spanish or in Portuguese. If you're going to pronounce it in English, why do we say Deportivo de la Coruna? Why not de la Coruña? Because it is actually de la Coruña. Why not? So choose what you want to how you want to pronounce these words, and then just be constant with that pronunciation.
Yeah.
But the easiest way to get away with it is anglicize it, pronounce it in English, and there'll be no problem with it at all. That's it.
But then how many languages do you speak?
That was my next question.
This question always comes up. Maybe that helped me to understand the pronunciations of the names. But you see, East European names, Hungary, Bulgaria, Turkey, has Turkey is both in the east and the west. A part of Turkey is actually in Europe. Those are the most difficult names to pronounce. For example, the Turkish pronounce their Turkey country name as Turkiye.
Yes.
So you cannot say Turkiye because you are broadcasting to an audience that speaks English. So you have to say Turkey. So just choose. Okay, I speak Italian fluently. I taught Italian, by the way. It's a very exciting language. I speak Spanish for the fun of it because it's also easy and it's close to Italian. I speak French, not very well, but enough to get around and moderately. But that's because everywhere you go, you have a choice of French or English as the international language. And sometimes you don't find English, you have to switch to French. And then I speak Lingala for the fun of it. It's because we have so much influence in the music. Before the Nigerian music colonized Kenyan music, it was the Lingala music that had colonized the Kenyan music scene. I speak Lingala for the fun of it, because I want to understand the songs and all that. So it's an easy language with 300 words. You just use them interchangeably depending on what you want to say. And I speak Swahili, and I speak English, and I speak Luo, and I speak Kikuyu.
A lot of languages.
And Kikamba. and Cheptuas refused to teach me one of their dialects. And I know it's a Nilotic language. And the problem with Nilotic languages is they are very difficult to learn grammatically. To write them, is very hard. In Luo, for example, if you say adhiot, that's only one word, adhiot. But in it, there are so many things. There is the personal pronoun me. I'm the one who's going, not you, me. And then there's a present tense, now, not yesterday. I'm not going yesterday or tomorrow, or right now. And then there's the action, going, and then there's the house that you're going to.
A lot of things.
And that's only one word. So it's difficult to break it down into what we call parts of speech. But I can assure you, any language in the world, there are two things that if you master, this is a secret, don't tell anybody. If you master two things in any language, you're home and dry. Is how to say I am and I have. Because that's all you say in every language. I have a cold, I have a car, I have money, I am sick, I am hungry. That's what you say in any language. Once you master that, then you master first person, second person, third person, singular, and plural. Nini ingine? All the rest is just vocabulary that you add. Because you'll say, I am walking. I am now eating. Tomorrow I will walk. The next day, okay? Or I have money. Tomorrow I will have money. We have money. They have money. You and I have money. Okay? First person, I. You have money. He or she has money. They have money. We have money. That's it.
Yes.
So that's how I approach languages. I try to simplify them.
You've helped me. I need to French imekuwa inanisumbua kidogo.
It's a very. In French is avoir.
Yes, I need to get back to.
That's it. It's just avoir and être. That's all. To be and to have.
Yes.
So that's how I approach languages. If you ask some of those students of mine, they'll tell you that I like to simplify things. And I don't like them to struggle. It's good to struggle, yes, but why struggle when I can make it easier for you? And I tell them, this is how you approach it. Let the struggle be that in your approach, in the approach that I've given you, you're having problems.
Absolutely.
But let the struggle not be in the approach. You already know the approach. Now you're struggling within the approach. That one we can understand. So that's it. That's how you simplify languages.
Tukimaliza, because I think we are pressed with time now.
Okay.
I have two last questions. The first one is, you've commentated in this league, the Kenyan football, for long. Looking at the football status, the current status of Kenyan football right now, what are your thoughts? Are we making progress? Are we making positive progress? And the last one, maybe inspire, talk to someone, maybe a young person who would want to be, not like you, but want to be a sports commentator in the future. Tukimaliza.
Question number one. Sometimes I feel sad about Kenyan football because we had put it so high up a couple of years back, especially when we were broadcasting on the South African pay channel.
Yeah,
we had put it so way up.
Yeah,
there was so much interest on Kenyan players from outside.
Yeah.
A lot of players made it outside the country, and we were attracting a lot of players from outside the country. That's how you know your league is big, when you start attracting players from outside on a professional basis. So I think we had made like, if we had made 7 steps ahead, we moved back 4 steps. We are a little bit down 4 steps. I look at how FC Leopards is playing at the moment, and that is a team for the future. I can assure you, the way they're playing, there's some very exciting players in that team. Very exciting players. I without any fear of favor, let me mention just maybe one of them. The player called Madada Okonji.
Kelly Madada.
Yes,
the guy is good. He's going places, but you see, he needs a complementing player as well. And that is where FC Leopards has to work. Change is also very good, but then again, you have to look at whether they can make it out there on the international circuit for you to say they're very good. But for the local league, they're very good. They just need a little bit of development on how to play internationally, and they'll be very good. So what I'm saying, even Gore has some very good players as well. What I'm saying is, our game went a notch down because of we didn't continue with some very good investment that was made previously. The players were getting some good money, they were getting paid and on time, they had some good money for investment in the clubs were getting money every month and all that. That was very good. Now you see why Tanzania, for example, has their game higher than ours is the one thing we have to look at to know whether we are doing well or not. Tanzanian clubs are playing very competitive football at the moment. Why are they playing very competitive football at the moment? I think in Tanzania now you can field 11 professional players. They don't have to be from your country. You can field 11 players. In Kenya, we still can field how many? 3. You can have 5. But 3 at any one time. Okay, on the field. And I think that is making the Tanzanian game go a notch higher because they're also putting money in it. So they're bringing in a lot of players, a lot of foreign players, and they're putting money in it. The downside of it is that the clubs develop, but the national team then goes down because now you're not giving a lot of chances to your local players. In Kenya, we're giving a lot of chances to the local players, but the competition level itself does not allow us to go beyond East and Central Africa, which is a little bit of a challenge. And I think I heard you in your news saying the coach, they're already trying to source players from out there. Maybe that will be the changing point as well. Because then that is what other countries that are successful have done. Nigeria, the Ghanas, all that, they 90% of the team will be foreign based, and then 1 or 2 players to understudy that, which is good. So that is my point at the moment, that we are not where we should be. We are making progress, but our progress is always being stifled by the fact that we have to start afresh every time. We have a new federation, we have to start afresh. Okay, we had a sponsor, then we got rid of him with the last federation, then we got another sponsor, we have to start afresh. So we have too many starts. We don't have continuity, and that really bothers me, because that brings us back every time. So it means that we can only play at any time up to 4 years maximum. You understand? Because when we have a new team, then we have to start afresh. Everything changes. Whenever somebody else comes in, we have to start afresh again. So that means every 4 years, you're removing whoever you had, you're bringing in new people all the time. The change of coaches that we have had for how many years? In the last, apart from Benny McCarthy, before Benny McCarthy,
we've seen so many changes.
We've seen so many coaches. In about 5 years. We had like 6-7 coaches. That's too many coaches. Every coach who comes with his new philosophy and is given a free hand, brings in his own players, so we're always starting afresh. Even when a new coach starts, we don't tell him, here are these players, work with them. He says, no, those are not my players. So we start afresh. So this starting afresh has really brought us back. We need to have some continuity. On question number 2 about inspiration to some of the young commentators, the first thing you should remember is you won't be Bernard Otieno. I won't be Leonard Mambo Botella. I will not. Okay? That's a different flavor. That's a different brand. This is a different flavor. That's a different brand. You have to work hard. You have to be disciplined. You have to be passionate. You have to you have to follow this passion. You just have to have a natural knack for wanting to know things and to disseminate information. it helps you if you're a journalist to be a commentator, because then it means already the science is done. You know, journalism is a science. We've always argued about whether it is an art or a science. It is also a science. So you already have the science as a journalist. Now, what about the art? How creatively can you give this information? How? Because you're not saying Kwanya with the ball, Chep with the ball. That one we can see. Occasionally, we even hear the English commentators doing that. But they've already given you so much more at that point. We are only watching what is going on the field. But if I see Kwanya, and I probably know that Kwanya is married to, say, John's son, and John's son is famous. Why can't I say the son-in-law of John has the ball at the moment? I mean, that now is creativity. Now I'm adding information into what people already know. So I know Kwanya is the son-in-law of John. So why don't I say son-in-law of John has scored? Let me give you an example. My favorite example. Kahata Francis. Kachi. Very good player and all that. Very good player. By the time he got to Gor Mahia, he became more famous. When he was at Thika United, he was still famous. I got to know that his mother is called Nyambura. I am actually the one who introduced his name Nyambura into the market. I got to know that his mother is called Nyambura, and so when he scored for Gor Mahia, I just said, son of Nyambura has scored. Everybody was wondering, where is this son of Nyambura coming from? And if I tell you how I knew that his mother is called Nyambura, my good taxi driver from a long time back was called Kanyeki. He's in here in not Ruiru, just before Ruiru. What is the name of this place just before Ruiru?
Kimbo?
No. The bridge here, just Kawa West, just before. So we have a lot of stories with Kanyeki, a lot of stories. He's an oldish guy. He loves the old music. So we used to discuss a lot of things in the car and all that. He's done a lot for me and my family and all that. So Kanyeki tells me, hey, Bernard, Kahata, the mother, we're in school together. And I'm like, tell me more about it. They actually went to school together. They tell me, the mother's called Nyambura. In fact, she lives here. I know her very well. She's my friend and all that. And then I'm like, okay, this is good information. This is what I'm going to use now. So he comes in and Francis Kahata. And I say, Francis Kahata Nyambura, the son of Nyambura. He's here and all that. And we go on like that until now everybody starts appreciating him as son of Nyambura. If you want to know, the name is catchy. When fans start saying son of Nyambura, when the fans start singing your name as Nyambura's son, then you know that name has caught now. That's how I do it, caught. So, do you have a knack for finding information? It will make you a good commentator. Find information. Have a natural curiosity to get more information about anything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think that's the best place to leave it. This has been a fantastic conversation.
I hope so.
I didn't want to ask this, but acha tu niulize.
Yes.
When you were growing up, who was that? Because you are the one. You are now inspiring young generation.
Yes.
Who was that commentator that you're saying?
I don't know his name, but I have said even this before. I had him on TV on Football Made in Germany. I don't know his name. I don't know where he came from. I used to listen to that, but I even said it before, and I think it's probably in my imagination. I don't know whether it's true, but I heard him say something like once for a player saying Bruno Labbadia, the Italian with a German passport. I don't know if that's the correct name. I might be making it up from my mind. Maybe it's what I used to hear, but I heard something like that.
Yes.
And the first thing I asked myself is, how did you know this guy is Italian? Because this is in the Bundesliga, and that time we are not old, we are young. We don't even know the difference between Italy and Germany, and what and Wazungu. So the thing is, how did you know this is Italian? And how did you know this guy has a German passport? Because that's very intrusive information. I mean, that's supposed to be private information. And those days we could not hear about, we had not heard about people changing nationalities to other countries. In fact, the closest we had come to that is watching spy movies when somebody crosses to the other country and then now is being hunted. But somebody just, changed his nationality to this country. So he said the Italian with a German passport. And I was like, no, I have to find information about players. How did he know that? Because to me, that was very personal. That's really very private information. But how did he find it? Now, of course, it's normal that people have, dual nationalities and all that. Even some people work here in Kenya have dual nationalities, we know. Yeah. But that time, that triggered me to try and find out more information about players. And I think my curiosity was then, triggered at that time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bernard.
Asante.
Tumeshukuru sana.
Asanteni sana.
Tukikuita tena, tafadhali urudi.
Tutakuja.
Yes, brilliant.
That has been... Chep has not asked the last question.
Yes, okay. So
you must always give the last chance to the lady.
Sawa,
yes. So maybe for me, Bernard, the last question, just
unaona alikuwa na last question.
Umefanya nimekumbuka, just receiving that the HSC being recognized.
Okay.
And the many awards you have done, and the other many awards.
The last award actually came in after the Cup of Nations. This Cup of Nations in Morocco, the AIPS, the International Organization for Sports Journalists.
Yeah.
And it was presented by FIFA, by Gianni Infantino, president himself, and Mosepe was there as well. Was being conferred the title of a legend in sports journalism for contribution to Kenyan sports journalism. I think that was the highest. That was the best. Yeah, because it means that they are recognizing your contribution for all what you have done. I haven't received it yet in my hands because it's supposed to come from the Ministry of Sport, and I'm still waiting for an appointment. But there were only two of us who got that, one from print and one from broadcasting. That was the biggest. The HSC was exciting. It's really exciting to be recognized nationally for what you're doing. It is really exciting. I sometimes forget. Until the time when I'll create my own identity at the end of my emails and add the HSC, I sometimes forget that I have that title as well.
But you ever thought of writing a biography? I
have. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Absolutely.
2 books that I'm writing.
Fantastic.
2 of them.
Fantastic.
One of them is actually about commentary as well.
You can't wait.
But it's for kids. Nyinyi ni wazee. Nyinyi mtakuwa excited. Most people think when they ask you, can you mentor me and all that, they think they're going to be you, and that bothers me. Because they think now, overnight, this is a journey that has taken how many years? You're talking about decades. But people think it's going to be overnight. It's not overnight. And that's why I want to write it for the kids. Because I want to... it's the same things we're talking about, but now the character will be a kid who's doing all these things so that it can inspire the kids. That generation is the one that will make it bigger than us.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Wacha nisome tu comments za our listeners here. Okay. It's very important. Lapro anasema huyu mzae naye tunamtambua. Asante sana. Vini Akarash anasema Bernard is legendary. And then of course huyu ni Bonga Boli mwenyewe. I know you know Bonga Boli.
Were Muhusia.
Were Muhusia anasema bien.
He likes to say that. That's French.
French, yes.
Lakini mnaitumia kwa sheng. Mambo kwaje, mambo bie. This is why you should learn languages, because most of what we use even in sheng, in slang, has an origin. You must trace it to the origin. Like bien, it's okay, we say bien, but the pronunciation is not bien, it's just bia. The N is not pronounced. But here in Kenya, mtu akuza kwaje niko bien.
I think you even used it tukianza show.
Yes.
Sasa unajua ule jamaa wa Sauti Sol.
Yes.
I don't know why he got shocked one day. We were at a function together and I was introducing him, and I introduced him with his full name. It's called Bien Baraza. But you see now, when that name Bien comes to another name, Aime, now you must connect the last consonant to the next consonant. So that's why his is not Bien Aime, it's Bien Aime. Because of the other word on the other side. So you must connect the two.
Them.
Wow.
That's what happens in languages. Bien Aime Baraza.
Wawire Uluma anasema beautiful conversation listening from Mombasa, Mbaraki. And Vini Akaracha Merudi Bernard is very brilliant. He's a very brilliant commentator. Thank you so much. That has been our conversation with Bernard. Tumeshukuru sana.
Thank you.
Time now is 24 minutes after 12, and of course that has been our conversation with Bernard Otieno, legendary sports commentator. We have learned, we have enjoyed this conversation, and we hope that hata wewe pia mahali huko umejibamba.